Whenever I need to make a highly engaging short form video, I have a go-to production/editing framework that I tend to use over and over again, especially for branded content or content that I'm trying to interweave some sort of promotion into without it feeling salesy. The scripting behind this framework and the general psychology behind it is definitely a storytelling framework where I am positioning the content as some sort of personal story, whether it's about me or a client, some sort of win or struggle that can be tied into whatever it is that I'm soft pitching throughout the video. Then the production side of things, I'm layering in a bunch of editing techniques and B-roll shots to really help tell the story while I just sit and talk to camera. That tends to be a really easy go-to for me because all it does is requires me to think through what my storytelling script and overall arc is going to be and say. Then I just have to sit down, get set up, record the actual video just like this, face to camera, but then the magic really happens in the edit, which I prefer because it allows me to not have to think that hard on the production side of things when I'm actually filming and creating the video. I have played around with videos where I do a little more in-depth shots and transitions and interesting things, but because I don't have a million hours in a week to actually create content, I'm playing to my strengths, and my strengths are sitting and talking to camera and then doing some fun, fancy editing behind the scenes and really just develop one or two different signature styles for how you're actually creating, producing, and editing your content that A, is gonna make your life easier because it's kind of just a rinse and repeat system, and B, it's going to look more recognizable on your feed. First and foremost, I typically use an AI platform called Poppy. I might have a discount code that I can link in the description for you, but it allows you to make different boards. It actually can watch and read videos for you. It's very powerful. I'll do an entire video on just how I use Poppy another time, but here's how I'm going to use it for Adobe Express video scripting. I'm gonna go grab past Adobe Express videos, grab those links, and just paste them into this board just to give Poppy a few examples of the general style and scripting that I like to do for these videos. And I'm literally just grabbing the link and pasting it in here. I'm now gonna create a group, pop them here, and I'm gonna label this group examples of past Adobe Express videos. All right, next I'm just gonna grab the campaign objectives. Obviously, this isn't going to apply to you if you're not doing a branded campaign, and that's fine, but instead what I would want you to do is just add a description of what you actually want the video to be about. All right, and now I'm just connecting all of these groups to the chat, and I'm asking it to script for me. Poppy's gonna come up with a script, then I'm essentially just gonna take it and tweak it in a Google Doc so that it relates to me, it sounds like me. I already ask it to write it in my brand voice, but things need to be tweaked. I will go back and forth with Poppy to really refine it and make sure it's exactly aligned with what I want to be talking about, how I want to be talking about it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get ready. I'm going to make my filming process so easy. I'm literally going to set up 2 different lights that I already have at my co-working space, of which I don't need. I could literally film this in my car, in front of a window, whatever, but I have this space, so this is how I'm going to use it. So I'm going to set up some big box light. I'm going to set up my tripod. I'm going to set up my fancy camera. You also don't need that, but if you want it, great. I have a whole video about all of the equipment that I actually use and actually recommend for content creation that I will link down below. In one long take, film my entire video face to camera like this and call it a day. This makes the filming process so easy and just gets it over with. I find filming to be the biggest hurdle in my process because the editing can happen when the kids are asleep. It can happen at night. It can happen 10 minutes here and then another 10 minutes there and then 30 minutes there. It doesn't matter when I do it, but filming, I do have to do all in one fell swoop, right? Making that process as easy as possible has been really helpful for creating content consistently and creating content that does perform really well. Next, I am sending that video from my phone to my desktop or my laptop, I guess. I am actually dragging that whole clip into Descript, and this is going to allow me to have a full transcript transcript video editor inside this platform, which is really, really helpful because it has a bunch of AI tools that allow me to cut out word gaps. It allows me to replace words. It allows me to take out also allows me to easily find sections where I've essentially said the same thing like a couple times and pick my favorite one. So I'll go ahead and edit this. And here you can see I can use their AI tools where I can shorten word gaps. So anything that's over 0.1 seconds, I can shorten all of it. Then what I can also do is go through this and actually watch and listen and edit in real time using the transcript. For example, channel relaunch for at least 6 months, not because I didn't know what I wanted to create, but because I kept thinking, who am I to start a YouTube channel? Not to mention the to-do list to launch said channel, all of the graphics that I made. What am I trying to? Not to mention, there are a million different tasks. Okay, so here, I essentially, this not to mention line, I said twice. So I'm going to actually use the second version of this. So all I have to do is highlight what I don't want and use the strikeout button. It edits it right out, which is really helpful. Once I have gone through and really edited all of this, this is what I call like the rough cut stage, where I essentially take this video, cut out all of the word gaps, cut out any words, phrases, sentences, or chunks of the video that I don't actually want to use. And what I have at the end to export is one final fully edited clip of my plain talking to camera video. I haven't added any fancy editing. This is my rough cut. So then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take it into CapCut. All right, I'm gonna bring it into CapCut. I'm gonna create a new recording and I'm going to bring that rough cut into CapCut and pull it down into the timeline. A couple things that I do for all my videos is one, I'm probably gonna increase the speed by like 0.1x, speed it up a little bit. Sometimes I talk really slow. And then the other thing I'm going to do is bring in the filters. I always use the enhance filter. That's sort of become my signature. I do recommend like picking a filter and sticking with it. Now, here's what I'm thinking through. The sort of the process of how I go about editing and producing this type of video is I'm going to collect some relevant B-roll, logos for the product, screen recordings of me actually designing something, screen grabs of things that I'm mentioning, and I'm going to really layer that all into this video. Then I'm going to layer in any fun like attention grabbing text or headers, and then I'm going to add the captions before I export it. I do intend to have some sort of like month-long editing boot camp. Let me know if you guys actually want that. In my mind you do, but I don't know. I've gotten a lot of questions about how I edit my content, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that and talk you through a few of the more interesting edits that I'll do in this video. For the sake of this not taking an hour, I'm just gonna show you a few of the highlights. Something else I'm going to do as I'm editing is I'm also going to chop up sections to add some interesting like zoom ins and jump cuts as I'm speaking. Something you want to always think through is like having something interesting and dynamic happening in the first couple seconds. So for me, I am going to do a slow zoom in using keyframes where I am going to grab the clip. I'm going to place my little timestamp thingy here. I'm going to make the scale just be normally 100. And then my second keyframe here, I'm going to click and I'm going to make this maybe 130%. So now finding sections where I can kind of emphasize what I'm saying is definitely what I'm looking for as I'm first getting started with this. Now I'm just going to do a jump cut where I just kind of zoom into my face. I kept thinking, who am I to start a YouTube channel? Not to mention there. Okay, cool. So because this video is about a software product, I need to create some screen recordings of that product. Now, some things to keep in mind are sometimes it's just easier to do screen recordings on my phone because it's going to be the correct aspect ratio. But for this, I typically find that it's okay to do a full screen recording and then just kind of like move it around and chop it up in the edit. I'm going to do a screen recording of me searching on Adobe Express for YouTube channel banner. And then I'm going to use that clip as I'm talking through my content. Then I'm going to actually find the banner that I chose to use. So I'm going to choose this, click customize template so that I can then use those clips in the actual graphic. And then I am just going to zoom out a lot so that the whole thing can come in here. All right, so I've gone ahead and grabbed a few screen recordings. I've grabbed some graphics and I've imported them all into CapCut. CapCut. I should also mention that what I'm using to record my screen is I have a Vimeo account and you can record your screen in that. I do pay for that. Some other options are record your screen if you have a Loom account. I also have purchased in the past, I've used ScreenFlow a lot to record a lot of my online course videos. So there are a plethora of options. I just happen to be using Vimeo today to record my screen. Here's what I'm gonna do. Now that I have these all in here, I'm gonna start layering them in. This is where I'm going to put in list of B-roll tasks that I want to scroll behind me. So what I'm gonna do for that is I'm gonna copy this clip, paste it right over top of it, and this top clip I'm going to remove the background. This really is the beauty of the edit, just working with what you got. Here we go. Okay, and I'm gonna change the opacity of this so that it's just...
Not to mention, there are a million different tasks to complete before I could even launch it.
I'm also gonna have it slide up.
There are a million different tasks to complete before I could even launch it.
And then an out, we'll just have it slide down. Okay.
Not to mention, there are a million different tasks to complete before I could even launch it. The perfectionist tendencies were...
Now here's where I'm gonna pop in Adobe Express. Okay, and this is where I'm gonna layer in that channel banner template. Okay. Now I'm popping on some thumbnail graphics as I'm talking about thumbnails, and I'm just popping them like directly over my screen. All right, so as you can see, I am just layering graphics and B-roll on top of my talking head video to add visual interest, to give more visual context as to what I'm talking about and keep people engaged. So I'm gonna keep doing that and we'll come back in just a minute. Okay, so I have gone ahead and added all of the graphics and B-roll. I have now added anywhere where I don't have B-roll, but still feel like there's been a good chunk of time where nothing interesting has happened on the screen. I'm going to add some sort of extra text. So some sort of like big header text or text that really emphasizes a phrase, some words, or something that I am saying at that moment, and have that pop up on the screen like this. The last thing that I'm layering in before I actually go in and add captions is I'm going to add some sound effects just to like give it a little bit more of an interesting like production value. So I'm going to add things like typing or click or like little magic reveals or dings, just to add more emphasis to the B-roll, to the text popping up on screen, and give even more reason to keep people engaged and keep people watching. That's really the name of the game, right? So I've layered in some sound effects. Last step is to go ahead and add captions, which CapCut can just do automatically for you as well. And here's the final product. I have been sitting on a YouTube channel relaunch for at least 6 months, not because I didn't know what I wanted to create, but because I kept thinking, who am I to start a YouTube channel? Not to mention, there are a million different tasks to complete before I could even launch it. The perfectionist tendencies were really kicking in, and really I was overthinking the entire thing. Thankfully, Adobe Express, who's today's sponsor, made the graphics super duper easy. I started with a channel banner template, and within minutes, I had something that looked actually really good, like professional creator who actually knows what they're doing good. I made some thumbnail templates that were clean and consistent, and I even made this cute little animated outro card for all of my social media clips to point people back to my YouTube channel. I could then just save all these templates to my existing brand kit, and all of these templates not only have saved me a ton of time to help with this YouTube launch, but has also given me confidence doing a thing that's honestly really scary. Do I know what I'm doing on YouTube yet? Not really, but does Adobe Express help me look like I do? Yes. So if imposter syndrome is keeping you from launching your thing, Adobe Express might just be the confidence boost you've been needing. It's totally free, and you can get started at the link in my bio. I know that was a lot. Hopefully just seeing this process and kind of how I think through this whole video is helpful for you to then take that back into your own content. Focus on storytelling, add interesting B-roll and graphics in the edit rather than thinking through like really complicated transitions and shot lists. Don't worry about that. Just film a face-to-camera video and add extra editing on top of it. It makes life so much easier, in my opinion, especially because editing is something you can get quicker and better at the more you do it. Use CapCut Desktop because that's gonna make your life easier too. You don't have to use your tiny thumbs to like press buttons. You can do so much more on the desktop version or whatever editing software you prefer. And make sure that every few seconds something new is happening on the video, whether that's a sound effect, some B-roll, a graphic, a text pop-up, just to keep people engaged and watching. Unfortunately, Unfortunately, we have attention spans of a squirrel, and having visual things pop up and keep people engaged and keep people watching is going to really help this style of video increase people's watch time. Let me know what questions you guys have in the comments, and let me know if you want me to do more of like an editing boot camp where I just give you tutorial after tutorial after tutorial for free here on YouTube. If that's something you want, let me know in the comments, and make sure you hit subscribe because I'll totally do that for you. Okay, I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.